Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are looking at a slide deck, specifically TD0072 technical discussions.
Right, the 2026 6 Boldine version, I think.
Yeah, that is the one. And it essentially serves as like a tactical survival guide for high-stakes business communications.
It really does. It is pretty intense material.
For sure. And our mission today is to decode 5 critical phrases from this deck. We want to explore their core logic, and how mastering them can help you navigate the total chaos of professional negotiations.
Which is incredibly useful because it really is chaotic out there.
Oh, absolutely. So to start, think about when a condemned building gets demolished. There is a countdown. Everyone knows it is coming. It is very controlled.
Right, but in a high-stakes negotiation, a collapse is rarely that organized.
No, not at all. It is often more like, I do not know, a Zeppelin crash, just one tiny spark, and suddenly the whole thing is this massive, incredibly public spectacle.
Yeah, and what is fascinating here is the psychological weight of that visibility. The deck actually uses the phrase, go down in flames.
Go down in flames.
Right, and the core logic there isn't just about failure. I mean, it is about the spotlight. The source material points to a live demo that fails spectacularly because of an unfixed core latency issue.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is the worst nightmare right there.
Exactly. So the damage isn't just technical, it is a massive reputational hit because the failure happens right in front of everyone.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because we picture the literal flames, right? Like the investors gasping in horror. But in my experience, these massive disasters, they do not just spontaneously combust.
No, they usually do not.
Right. There is always some hidden variable, like a random tariff update or a rogue email that acts as that initial spark.
Yeah, and the unpredictable start is exactly what the presentation classifies as a wild card.
A wild card, right, like in poker.
Exactly like the Joker in poker. It completely alters the dynamic of the entire board the very second it is played.
Wait, what does the deck use as an example for that?
It cites a newly proposed export tariff that just suddenly impacts supply chain costs. You cannot predict its exact behavior, but it forces you to instantly recalculate your whole strategy.
Right, just to avoid that public crash you were talking about.
Exactly.
So really, surviving the life cycle of a business disaster comes down to early detection. You have to spot those wildcards before they detonate.
Which means looking way past what people are explicitly telling you.
Right, which brings us to interpreting subtext. I think the deck calls this reading between the lines.
Yeah, reading between the lines. It is about analyzing the blank spaces to find any hidden threats.
Like what, for instance?
Well, the source material highlights this classic scenario where a client says they will, quote, consider your proposal.
But taking that at face value just breeds false optimism, right?
Exactly. Interpreting the subtext there reveals that they are actually entirely dissatisfied with the price. It is just a defensive maneuver to protect their margins.
See, but here is where it gets really interesting. Because reading subtext is this quiet, defensive observation, but the deck also dives into highly offensive maneuvers, like stealing someone's thunder.
Oh, yeah, that one is a loud, aggressive disruption. It is the total opposite of subtle.
Right, it is deliberate manipulation of timing. And the literal origin is so brilliant. It was a 1700s playwright who invented a new sound effect for thunder.
Wait, really? A literal thunder sound?
Yeah. His play failed, but then a rival theater copied his exact technique for their own hit show. They literally stole his thunder.
Wow, that is pretty brutal. And in the context of this deck, the example is when a competitor launches their product a week early.
Just to intercept the PR for your new gear efficiency metrics, right?
Exactly. They're just hijacking your spotlight.
So, what does this all mean when you are actually in the hot seat? Because understanding these terms, it isn't just about memorizing vocabulary.
No, not at all.
It is about having a framework to emotionally manage the extreme volatility of a business cycle. Like when a competitor steals your thunder or a wild card wrecks your supply chain, how do you actually pivot?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that pivot is what the deck calls a blessing in disguise.
A blessing in disguise. So like a strategic gift wearing an ugly mask.
Exactly. The presentation shows how losing a minor supplier initially feels like a painful setback.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But that sudden pain forces you to actually vet new options. And that leads to the discovery of a much more reliable partner.
So long term, that initial failure was actually a required step for operational stability.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly what you needed.
Which leaves us with this final reframe for you. If a blessing in disguise requires time to peel off its ugly mask and reveal its true nature, well, how many of the professional situations you currently assume are going down in flames are actually just wild cards waiting to work in your favor?
That is a great point. Sometimes you really just have to wait for the smoke to clear.